Okay, welcome back. So this is part 4 of lesson 6.4. So this is the last section, and we just want to look at a few more transformations and what that does to an exponential function. So we start out with this, and again, I've went through and I've already put in these values and graphed so that you can see the difference in what's happening. All right, so here's our first basic function, really basic exponential function. A is 2, B is 2. So 2 times 2 to the x power, we can see the graph. So now what happens if we add or subtract a constant from these functions? So if you look at both of these, we are not changing any aspect of the original function itself, but we are adding or subtracting a constant value. In this case, we're adding 2 or subtracting 2. So how do they compare? All right, so here's our original function, and here's the function if we've added 2. What's happened? It has shifted up 2 places, okay, from where this one is. Now, what's important about this is because we did this the other day, we talked about, like, for example, this function here as this function goes in this direction, the x direction, what is it approaching? It's approaching 0, or the y direction is approaching 0, but it's never going to touch 0. Well, the same thing is here, only we've shifted it up 2. So if you look at this graph, what is it approaching? It's approaching 2, but it's never going to touch 2, and it's never going to go below it. Okay, it's never going to hit it. It's just going to keep getting, you can see here we went from 6 to 4 to 3 to 2.5, and it's going to continue going down, and but it's never going to go past 2. So it's going to keep getting closer and closer and closer to 2, but it's never going to reach it. Same thing over here. Notice we are now subtracting 2 from our function, so that shifts the function down 2 places, and now it's not approaching 0 anymore, it's approaching -2. So you can see the values 0, -1, -1.5. It's going to become -1 point something. So it's going to keep becoming more and more negative, and it's going to keep getting closer and closer to -2, but it's never going to actually reach it. It's going to infinitely move towards that number, towards -2. So you can kind of see that relationship. Down here below, this is just a nice little diagram that shows all the different transformations that we've talked about today. This shows like how we go from this to reflection, right? We change A, make it a negative number. How we can reflect it over the x-axis, okay? How we vertically stretch numbers, and how we can vertically compress numbers. And so those are all of our simple transformations of exponential functions.